So hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel. Welcome to the subject that is software engineering. So thanks for coming to channel and watching the video. Thank you very much. So as you know, we have covered up the uh, three chapters: introduction, processes, and all that. So in today's lecture, so in this video, as you already know, we have covered up the basic of software engineering. We have covered up the software processes. We have covered up that is really the important thing in the software engineering. That is the different software engineering models. We have deal with the different maturity models. Different maturity models means the capability maturity model to gaining the quality of the process as well as to gaining the quality of the software. So we are covering the new chapter, that is the requirement engineering. So we already know the phases of the software development life cycle. That is also we can treat as a generic process framework. The different phases, as you will always be aware on that. Like so we are moving with the new chapter, that is the requirements engineering. So as you already know the different phases of the software development life cycle, that is a phase number one, that is then termed as you can say as a requirement engineering. So that is the phase number one, that is we are defining with the different names like communication, you can say. Also we can say the requirement gathering, or we can say the requirement engineering. So this chapter would be all about that phase number one. Either you can treat as a communication with your client, requirement gathering of the project, or the requirement engineering. So this is a really crucial, or you can say this is a very important phase of any software development life cycle, because all depends on the requirement. If you have worked correctly, efficiently on the requirements, your next phases would be efficiently and the faster to implement. So this is a really crucial phase for any software developer or any software development life cycle. Okay, so these are the topics we will be looking into this chapter. Like the just the requirements, we will divide the requirements into functional and the non-functional requirements. Requirements engineering process we will see. Requirements elicitations means we can say the detailing of one type of requirement specification, requirement validation, and the requirement change. Okay, so let's start with the chapter. So yes, so what exactly the requirement engineering is? So to be precise on the definition, we can say a process of establishing the services that a customer requires from a system and the constraints under which it operates and it is developed. So this is the kind of one kind of language we can treat as a the system requirements are the description of the system services and the constraints that are generated during the requirements engineering process. Okay, yes, this is the kind of book language we can say, but in the general term, what exactly the requirement engineering is all about? So this is we can in the simple term we can say that this is okay. So this is the kind we can say that this is a really important phase where exactly the software development process start. So what exactly comes, a customer or a client comes to you, he will say that I want to make this. He will give the exact requirement to you, like what he or she wants to develop in the terms of software system or the architecture and anything else. Okay, so the requirement engineering is a kind of, you can say, the process you will follow to properly capture the requirement and work on the requirement, do the proper analysis on the requirement, and you can like a properly stored the requirement in efficient way so that the other staff members or the other developers can understand your requirement easily. So this is the kind of the word the requirement engineering is all about. Okay, then we have then we have exactly the requirement is. So we can say that it may be a range from a high level abstract statement of a service or from a system constraint to be detailed mathematical functional specification. See, a requirement, you can say it's all about, you can say, the verbal communication which will happen between you and your client. Also, a one type of a document, you can say a client will give you a document or a Word document or a PDF document, and he will say, I want to make this. Also, it can be a mathematical functions, like you can say you are working on a AI project or any mathematical project, so he will give you the output and will say that I want this kind of output. So the requirement can be in the different manners. So it can be a bid. So what exactly the bid is, there are some freelancing website available. The user bid over there, and the client put the requirements like I want to make this and this and this, all things, right? And the developers will get the requirements from there. It can be the contract. Let's say a client will give the requirement and will make a contract like after the 3 months we will complete this project in this amount of money. So this is nothing but is a type of requirement. We can say that it is a kind of requirement. So it has a different definition. It's not, we can say, a fixed definition, right? Okay, now we can categorize a requirement. That is where we are going detail into this requirement engineering, right? The requirement, we can, let's say we are categorizing the requirement. Like when we are categorizing the requirement, we have to take some things like the requirement. We have to take the user requirements, or we have to take the system requirements. Okay, see, let's say if you are like developing any software, then you have to capture the users that will use that requirement. So you have to capture the user requirements, as well as you have to capture the system requirements as well as. Okay, this user requirements in the natural language plus the diagrams can be shown to you, like this is the kind of requirement I have. Under system requirements, it can be a structured document, like what will be the requirement of the system, and all that will be given to you from the client or the contractor. Okay, so if we take the examples like the readers of the different types of requirement, like user requirements can be, let's say if you are developing any system, so that's the users of that system surely be varied. One user can be a client manager, a different user can be a system manager, a different user will be a client contractor, and all that. Let us give the example of your ERP system. A student can access a ERP, a faculty can access a ERP, a admin professional can access the ERP, and principal can access the ERP. But the information a faculty can see, a student cannot see. Information a principal can see, a faculty cannot see. So are you getting my point? So this requirement changes basis on the user, so that needs to be captured properly, and according to that we have to implement the software. Now the terms comes into the system requirements. What exactly to be developed apart from this user requirement? Let's say we want to develop some payment gateway over there. We have to work on the performance, we have to work on the reliability and all that, right? So this is a kind of the system requirements we will have. Okay, now like we are going the next into detail into the chapter, that the new terms will comes into the picture. These terms in the separately can be asked to exam, like who are the system stakeholders, who are the system stakeholders, because we are talking about here as a system requirement, we are talking about user requirements. Ultimately we are talking about the system stakeholders. So what do you mean by system stakeholders? We can say any person or organization who is affected by the system in some way, and so who has a legitimate interest. So ultimately we can say that in one or another way, that a person or an organization who is or which is connected to the system or using the system, we can say the stakeholder of the system. So the stakeholder types can be the end users, system managers, system owners, and the external stakeholders. So let us take the example in our ERP system. The stakeholders can be the students, stakeholders can be the principal, stakeholders can be the faculties, stakeholders can be, you can say that your parents, because we have your parent login as well as onto the ERP. So are you getting my point? So these are all the people connected with the system. So these are nothing but we can say that the stakeholders of the system. Okay, So let us take the example of the Mentcare, like you can say the Mentcare system, that is a software developed for the medicine, a medical segment. So who can be the stakeholders of that particular system? Yes, we can say the patients. Yes, ultimately we are storing the information for of the patients, so the patients can be the stakeholders. Doctors, yes, nurses, medical receptionists, and the IT staff. So these are the stakeholders for the particular Mentcare system. We have taken the second example also for the ERP as well. Okay, so we have to identify. So this is the way actually to get your requirement into the detail. To get your requirement into the detail, you have to think about, when you are like dealing with your client, when you're getting the requirement, you have to think in this terms, like who will be the users of the system, how will like what are the stakeholders of the system. You have to write it down, like what are who will be the stakeholders of the system, and what are the user requirement, what are the system requirement. Yes, are you getting my point? So this is the kind of thing you have to do into the requirement engineering when you are doing into the requirement gathering, right? So this is a kind of things. Now we are coming into the agile methods and the requirements. So sometimes what happens exactly, uh, when a client comes to you, when a client comes to you, it is possible that they know the abstract view. They don't have the detailed requirement. Let's say someone comes to you and will say you, I want to create a library management system, but I just have opened the library and I don't know which are the modules will be there. I just want to develop the library management system. Okay, so the requirement, yes, he or she wants to make the library management system, but he does not aware about a detailed module, but because he have recently opened the library, because he is not an experienced person, right? So in that case, what we can do opt for the agile methods. So in the agile methods, so what we will do with the initial requirement, we'll start the development. After getting the development, the requirements will become more clear. Let's say when we develop one module, like we will be more clear, like we will need this, now we will need this feature, this module, this feature, and this module. So this is also a one way to identify the correct and the detailed requirements if the requirements are not properly clear. Okay, then we have the functional. Now this is a very important thing to understand, that now we are talking about the requirements. Yes, we are talking about the requirements. So we can categorize the requirements into the further, we can say, the functional and the non-functional requirements, right? Okay, so now let's move towards the next topic, that is a functional and the non-functional requirements. So up till now we have seen the requirements in the terms of the user requirements as well as the system requirement. See, this is a kind of technique you have to adapt. This is a kind of engineering. This is a kind of requirement engineering you have to perform to get the proper detailed requirement of your project. Okay, now you have to identify what are the functional requirements and what are the non-functional requirements of a particular project. So let us move ahead and let us understand what exactly the functional requirement is. Okay, so the functional requirements, we can say simply what functions we need in a particular project. It's the statement of service the system should provide, how the system should react to the particular inputs, and how the system should behave in a particular situation. So the functional requirement provides what functions, like what features your system should provide. Let's say we are talking about the ERP system. The ERP system will have the attendance module, like what will be the input to the attendance and what will be the output of the particular attendance system. What the input, the second module, the payment system you need onto the ERP, what will be the input onto the ERP, what will be the output of the ERP payment module. So this is the kind of the main functionality, you can say that the functionality requirement, what functionalities are required into the particular project. So this is called as a functional requirement. Also the functional requirements may state what system should not do, like this functional requirement also specify what system should perform, what features should particular system should have, and what system should not have. Okay, then we have the non-functional requirements. The non-functional requirement constraint on the service or the functions offered by the system, such as a timing constraints, constraints on the development. See, this kind of requirements apply to the whole system. Yes, we need a these features, but we need optimized performance. We need a fast speed on the project. The project should be loaded fast. It should perform smoothly. All the features should work smoothly. We need a good UI. So this kind of the thing is a non-functional requirement. The functional requirements are the heart of the project. They should be there, right? And the non-functional requirement, we can say that yes, it should be applicable to the whole project. A smooth working of the project, a faster performance. Like this should be like complete this process into this particular time. Now apart from this, we can have the domain requirements. Constraint of the system from the domain of the operation, we can say that is a domain requirement. Then let us understand the functional requirement with the definition given in the book, that is Somerville. That is, the functional requirement describes a functionality or a system service. Then we can say it depends on a type of software, expected users, and the type of system where the software is used. Okay, so this is the kind of thing we will use into the we can say that the functional requirement we will capture the which type of software we want to use, who will be the expected users, and where the software will be used. The functional requirements may be a high level statement of what system should do. As I told you, the functional requirements specify the features. A functional requirement should describe the system service in detail. So this is a kind of the functional requirement. So let us take the example again of the MANTCAR system. In the MANTCAR system, what are the functional requirements? A user shall be able to search the appointment list for the all clinic lists. So this is a one kind of feature, a one kind of function. There are so many features and there are so many functions there will be. So this is a one kind of function. So this is a one kind of feature should be there into the MANTCAR system, like user able to search the appointments. Then the system shall generate each day for each clinic a list of patients. So we will need a report for a patients for a particular day or particular patients. They need a report. This is another feature, or you can say that is another functional requirement. And the third one, that is each staff member using the system shall be uniquely identified by his or 8-digit employee number. So this is another functional requirement. You have to provide the 8-digit employee number to identify the employee as a unique, right? Okay, so these are the example of the three functions, examples of the three features that should the MANTCAR system. There will be so many of features, we can say so many of functions, right? There will be so many of functions, right, that should have. Okay, so this is a kind of functional requirement, we can say that. Okay, so this is a kind of, we can say that the functional requirement. So let us move ahead to the requirements. This is requirement imprecision. So what exactly is? The problem arises when the functional requirements are not precisely stated. So this is the kind of thing, this is the reason being we are doing the requirement engineering process to understand the requirement properly into the detail. Okay, so what happens exactly I told you. Sometimes what happens, a client does not able to give you the proper requirement, but sometimes a user or you can say a developer might, or the project manager might not able to understand the requirement properly. So this calls the requirement imprecision. So so let us take the example of this MANTCAR system, that is a search functions we need. So what happens exactly, user, so what is the intention of the client? Let's say the search for a patient's name across all appointments in all clinics. So what he told that I want a feature which will search for appointment into the all departments, while the developer understood to search for the particular patients patients onto the particular department. So this is the kind of thing a user want into the old department, a developer understood into the particular department. So this is a kind of ambiguity generated. So this is a kind of thing we have to identify. We have to identify it properly, right? So this should not be there. The requirement should be the complete and should be the consistent. So this is a kind of thing here, like you have to capture your requirement properly. Let's say if you want to apply, if you want this feature, let's say the search feature, so that the search feature should be applied to the one module or the two module or to the all module. You have to clarify with your client before moving to the development. So the requirement should be complete as well as should be the consistent. Like it should not contradict with the other requirement. Let's say you have so many of requirement, it should not contradict with the another requirement. If it is contradicting, then you have to solve it out. Okay, so this is the kind of thing we have to take care about the requirement engineering. Okay, now we came into the so it was all about the functional requirement. We have seen that. Now it is about the non-functional requirement. Now it is about the non-functional requirement. So as we told you, it applies to the whole system. Like this defines the system properties and the constraints. Like let's say a client comes to you, he will show you like I want this type of features in this, and now he also added that the software should be reliable, the response time should be good, the storage, the size of the software should be less. I need a proper storage. I need a constraints like IO device should work properly. The capability should be good. The software should be scalable and should work fast. So these are the system work onto the whole system, right? So this is a non-functional requirements that has to be taken care. Okay. So the non-functional requirements may be a more critical than the functional requirements. If these are not met, the system may be useless. Yes, it seems to be a very less important, but it is a more important. Let's say if you are developing a web application, but web application it's taking too much time loading onto the browser, so it is a completely useless. It is a completely useless thing. So that is the non-functional requirement. When you are developing a software, ultimately the end you have to meet all the non-functional requirement at the end. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? If you have developed the software, the size of the software is too much big. It is like taking so much time to transferring. Let's say you have developed an e-commerce website, but the e-commerce website, when you click any particular product, it is like going into the loop and it is taking too much time. So it is no one going to use that. As simple as that. Are you getting my point? So these are the non-functional requirement that should be taken care, right? So there are so many of non-functional requirement. There are so many. We will not go into the detail, but some of the we can define as a product requirements. Non-functional requirements can be categorized into the product requirements. We can say the organizational requirements, external requirements. And the product requirements can be categorized into the efficiency requirements, dependability requirements, and the security requirements. And the external requirements can be categorized into the regularity requirements and the ethical requirements. So this is the very much detailed thing. So let us move towards that. Okay. So this is the kind of, we can say that the non-functional requirements. So let us move ahead with that. So the non-functional requirements may affect the overall architecture of a system rather than the individual components. Yes, we have seen that it is applicable to whole, right? Single non-functional requirements such as a security requirement may generate a number of related functional requirements that are defined as system service that are required. So ultimately, sometimes what happens, a security of a software, that is a non-functional requirement, but it might be possible that to implement that non-functional requirement, you have to implement some other functional requirement as well. Okay, so that is why it is written that the single non-functional requirement such as a security requirement may generate a number of related functional requirements that define a system service that are required, right? Then yes, we have defined that the non-functional classification. So we will not get into the detail, but the overview, the product requirements, organizational requirements, external requirements. The product requirements are requirements which specify that the delivered product must behave in a particular way, okay, like execution speed, reliability. Organization requirements which are consequences of the organization policy, like a software should follow these policies and these terms and this condition, okay. So these are nothing but the organizational requirements. Then the external requirements which arise from the factors which are external to the system and its development processes, let's say the requirements, legislative requirements, etc., etc., okay. Then goal of the requirements should be we can say that the non-functional requirements may be very difficult to state precisely, and implied requirements may be difficult to verify. So the ultimate goal is to generate an intention of a user, such as a ease of use. Verifiable non-functional requirements. Goals are helpful to developers as well as to convey the intention of the system users, okay. So this is we can say the metrics for specifying. So ultimately what we are dealing, so the functional requirement, yes, a user know that, so this is the kind of functional requirement we have, right? The user already know that this is the kind of functional requirement we have. But on the non-functional requirements are very much difficult to identify. So what we are doing, we are defining a matrix for the non-functional requirement that generally applicable to the all type of software, like the speed, the process, the transaction per second a particular software should perform, a user or event a response time. We can say, let's say if you are searching a particular thing, from the number of records, how much milliseconds time it is taking time, screen refresh time onto the graphics particular thing, the graphic project, like size, how much size your project is using, number of ROM chips it is using, ease of use, how much efficient and how much easy your project is, like once you develop a software, how much easy it is in use for the other users, does it require a training, number of help frames and all that, YouTube videos and all that. Then the reliability, you can say mean a time to failure, how much fatigue your software is, how much robust your software is, you can say that. How much portable is it, you can portable software from one system to another system. Rate of failure and the availability. Then we have the robustness, mean the time to restart after the failure. Let's say once your software is down, so how much time it is taking to restart again work properly, that is, you can say that the robustness. Percentage of the events causing the failure, probability of the data corruption on the failure. Then we have the portability, yes, transferring from the one system and onto the another system, one platform from the Windows to the Linux, it should be a quickly portable, you can say that. So this is a kind of matrix you can define onto the non-functional requirements, okay. So this is exactly we can say that up till now requirement engineering processes is all about, is like a user requirement and the system requirement. You can say that we can divide into the functional requirement and to the non-functional requirement, okay. So this is a kind of thing. So we'll move towards the next topic, that is a requirement engineering processes, okay. So into the requirement engineering processes, we will go into the different types of techniques, like requirement elicitation, requirements analysis, requirement validations, requirement management. So this is the kind of process. This is the kind of process we will look into, that requirement engineering process. This is the heart of requirement engineering process, but not now, into the next YouTube video, okay. So quickly summarize that what we have looked at. That is phase number 1, that is the requirement gathering, or we can say the communication with the client. The types of requirement we have, the user requirement and the system requirement we have seen the functional requirement, like I said, the features of the system. We have the non-functional requirement. Apart from the features, we have something like timing and the response time and the speed and all that, okay. So these are nothing but the non-functional requirement of the system we are looking, that are most important, like a security of the software. So this was all about we have done into the today's video. In the next video we'll go into the detail of the requirement engineering process. So keep in mind, this is a really important topic for your examination, or apart from this, for the software development life cycle. So thank you very much for watching a video. Have a good day. Bye bye.